Hey, it's Chris Bowling.
Chris Byer.
Brad Johnson.
Gentlemen, it is March. It is Colon Awareness Month.
Yes.
Byer and I, Brad, have talked, we did at least one recording, maybe if not two, that we just talked about all the different ways to make sure that you are checking your colon. Of course, you can have the colonoscopy at age 45. You can have it prior if you have enough family history to prove that you need it.
Yep.
We talked about Cologuard and then finally the FITS test. You had something in your newsletter that we would love to discuss, and how appropriate it came out in March for Colon Health Awareness Month. So tell us what this article was focusing on.
I'm so glad my timing was.
It was impeccable.
And first of all, if we're supposed to be aware of our colon this month, I acknowledge I have one. So I am aware of my colon. So check one.
That is positive.
Done.
Technically Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, but you also
it's not just awareness that you have a colon.
Okay.
Sorry. Forget it. I'm not ready for that topic.
I
do have one about colonoscopies. Would you like to hear about that one?
Let's hear it.
All right. So we all know Affordable Care Act, preventive services list, colonoscopies free, right?
Yes.
And I don't mean to belittle that. That's been a major positive thing for folks. The thing I think we've all run into, though, define free.
Yes.
Right. So interesting article. Kaiser Family Foundation has some great stuff. I follow them very closely. They talked about a situation where a husband and wife couple both hit the certain age where it's time for them to get their colonoscopies. They both went into the same doctor in network with their insurer. In fact, just outside of Chicago, so not too far from here, with I'll leave the insurance carrier out of it. No sense getting sued for no reason.
At least
but a large one, right? And I'll leave the provider out because, again, the same reason. But they went in for their free in-network preventive colonoscopy, checked the boxes. It all worked out great. Fortunately, nothing was uncovered through that. Clean bill of health. We'll see you again in a couple of years. But what they saw a little quicker than that was a bill in the mail for a $600 surgical tray. And they're just, both of them, they both got one. Same doctor, same preventive. Wait a second, I thought this was supposed to be free. They went back and forth. Provider, insurance carrier, both are doing, guess what? It's their fault. It's their fault. All this stuff. But at the end of the day, some of these charges are still sneaking into these free services.
Yes.
The moral of the story in this case, it took a ton of phone calls and, gosh, let's hope not, maybe an article nationwide to get it settled. The bills finally got written off, but it wasn't from a tremendous amount of effort.
Wow.
So,
I know, Chris, you and I have talked about situations where a member goes in for their preventative colonoscopy and they find something, and now it becomes diagnostic while you're under anesthesia. That's a challenge as well. But this is a whole different topic. This is just sneaking something through.
This was probably a surgical tray that the carrier would have never paid for, right? Because it wasn't part of the CPT codes that should line up with a preventative colonoscopy. So let's just bill the patient and let's pray to God that they just pay the bill, right? I mean, it's just, I'll tell you, man, healthcare has gotten to be a disaster. To navigate healthcare and to just understand what you owe. I mean, we do this for a living, and I can tell you, when Carrie had her pacemaker, dude, I was getting so many bills from so many different providers. I had no clue what I owed, not a clue. And I'm like, at that point, I've been doing it for 30 years. Think about the participant that has their first big claim in their life. It's a train wreck.
Absolutely. Got
to be an easier way. Well, so did the article explain what the surgical tray was and why it wasn't billed or covered by the carrier?
It didn't go into great detail with that, but interestingly enough, at first they wouldn't reveal what the charge was. It's just a miscellaneous charge. And so I think they had to spend
It's a
weeks
magical
on
tray.
weeks getting to that, and then finally someone acknowledged it was a surgical tray.
What is
And
worth
at which point they
$600
said,
that
Garbage.
you have in the room?
Yeah.
yeah,
This thing.
yeah, I guess you could go tray free, and just put the tools on the floor when you're done with them,
I
And-
guess.
grab a new one if you want to save a couple. Who doesn't have a surgical tray? And
Right.
I'm not an expert at this. I shouldn't weigh in on what needs to be in the room, but
Here's the moral of the story,
that's
still get
pretty
your
common.
colonoscopy done. Just double check your bill and don't pay it until you get your EOB.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
And if
yeah.
it's your first one, it should be free regardless. If they find something, then from that point on, then they're going to be diagnostic. So, yeah, good job to this husband and wife. They're like, no, this is ridiculous. This is our first one. We don't owe a dime.
They stuck with it, and to their credit, beyond where most would have, and
absolutely.
but it finally made a difference, and an interesting discussion for Bottom Line Thursday.
It is.
And
In a week that we're all aware of our colons
Yes, we are.
as well.
we are aware that it's colon month.
Yes.
Not that there's anything beyond that. Just it's colon awareness month.
Just
You're the
awareness.
colon. Yeah. Don't you like how I kicked that off?
That was beautiful. That was beautiful,
Thank
gentlemen.
God I have two people on this screen that are way smarter than me.
Happy to help. Happy to. Thanks, Brad, as always.
Brad, we'll
All
see.
right. You have a good one.
Bye.
All right.
See
Bye
ya.
bye.